My dear friends, our church, Bethesda Methodist Mission, is going through some exciting times. This church has been blessed by God in many ways. One of the most obvious ways of God's blessing for our church is the reality that we have grown. When we began living in this church together, we had 350 or so people. Now we have more than 1,000 people who come here every Sunday simply to be in the presence of their God, to worship with their brothers and sisters, to embrace the love of one another as they share in the love of God. That's a wonderful thing because it shows us that when we are together, God's presence imbues in us a wonderful experience. The blessing of growth that we have experienced poses to us a challenge. And that challenge it is to allow us the space necessary to worship God in a free, exuberant, yet meditative state that allow us to connect with our God in a deep way. This means, therefore, for us, when we come to this church, we are unable to do that, especially when we come to services like baptismal. As we remember the church gets too full, comes to Holy Communion services, it becomes impossible for us to come to the sacraments of God with reverence and a deep sense of respect. That means, therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, God asks of us and calls on us to extend this church. The implications of that extending, therefore, means we have to commit ourselves to this journey of making sure the space is available for us to have a meaningful spiritual interaction with our God. This calls upon us to do this wonderful work, and the technical people who have looked at the images and how the church can be like have done their best, guided by God. You and I have to hear them as God speaks to them. Listen.
I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart. I will tell of all thy wonderful deeds. I will be glad and exalt thee. I will sing praise to thy name, O Most High.
We have been blessed with our present sanctuary, the Bethesda Methodist Mission at Houghton. This beautiful place of worship, all in the name of our Lord. Our numbers have grown and will continue to grow. We will provide for them, the community, the children, the needy, for generations to come.
It is our mission to undertake the Lord's work in providing for these needs, by extending the church to fulfill these requirements.
The 2 areas in yellow will be demolished. Part of the hall will make way for the extension of the church.
The existing offices and ablutions will be demolished to make way for the new ablutions and vestry.
The new offices will be built between the existing walkway and the boundary wall.
A new covered courtyard will be located between the church and the ablutions.
Benches will be incorporated into the garden areas.
A playground for children will be located near the mission house.
The insides of the mission house will be removed to create a hall. A new stage will replace the existing one.
The whole area can be converted into classrooms for children by means of removable partitions.
A new service road will give vehicle access to the kitchen at the back of the mission house. We have applied to council to lease the land next to the church for parking. The area will be closed off with palisade fencing. Parking bays will be shown. The trees will be kept.
The garden between the mission house and the church will serve as a social gathering area before and after services and at functions such as weddings. Inside the church and under the mezzanine will be the glass enclosed baby room. It will have a counter with wash basin for looking after children during services.
The extension will use the same method of construction as was used for the original church. The new courtyard will have additional benches as required. The extension of the church will enhance the cathedral-like quality, which will create a wonderful space for worship.
This church carries the pride of the people of Houghton as well as the people of Yeovil. I'm actually thinking that God is going to give us power to build this church, and I foresee that and we'll pray that God, when we build this church, we'll build it debt-free.
We who are called Bethesda Methodist Mission believe in a God who provides for his dreams and his vision. Those visions and those dreams inspire us to commit not only our physical sense, but our resources. In this instance, the challenge is for us to commit our money. And therefore, as we have heard, we have seen that this will cost us 20 million rand. But who have said 20 million rand can be a stumbling block to the visions and dreams of God? You and I know this God. You and I have experienced this God in our lives. And because of his presence in our lives, no matter how high the mountain, no matter how tiring it might appear, we will be committed. You and I are urged, and I urge you personally, to go and look into your own resources and give as best as you can, so that this which God gives us is a legacy we transfer not only to ourselves, not only to those who walk lonely in the streets of Johannesburg, not only those who walk hungry in the streets of Johannesburg, but those who are going to come after us. They will look back and they say to themselves, what a wonderful gift. You and I have to make the financial commitment to this work. And if we make it, God will provide, as he has done in the past and in the future. May God bless you as you make your commitment to this wonderful work.
I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart. I will tell of all thy wonderful deeds. I'll be glad and exalt thee. I'll sing praise to thy name, O Most High.